So today we're having a Q&A with a lot of the cast and crew of the Daye film, which is pretty exciting. My name is Maria Gracia Turgeon. I am a producer, two-time Academy Award nominee. So I've been doing this run last year and the year before, so I know how exciting and stressful it is for the teams that are here today. And so we're going to jump in with the film because we don't have much time. And the exciting part is to get to talk to the team on this really amazing film. I do watch a lot of films, so first off, congrats everyone. Honestly, that was striking, captivating film. You really get sucked in from the first second off, so you did a master job at it. And so I'll just introduce you quickly with all the team that we have here today. So we have Anthony Anti, the director. We have Chingiz Karibekov, the producer and writer. And sorry if I'm butchering some names. I'll try to get it right, but here we go. Just tell me if I'm saying it not right. We have the DP, so PJ Clausen. We have 3 members of the cast. So we have Gua Robert Rovogi. We have Matilda Anchel and Prince Agote. So we're going to be starting. First off, the question that I like to ask is for Anthony, what did inspire you to direct and to create this film? Where did the idea come from?
Hi, thanks for giving us this platform to speak. The idea is a bit based on things that I encountered as a kid, growing up. And we wanted to play with the innocence of children that could get lost when it came in contact with the adulthood or the adult world. And also another theme that we wanted to explore was peer pressure. And I remember once, as a kid, I got into a situation. When I was a kid, I was this energetic kid. I was this kid that was doing all kinds of stuff. Like, I could do a backflip, I could play football, I could rap, all kinds of stuff. A little bit like Matilda, but then, Matilda is much better. And because of that, I encountered myself with a lot of adults. And as of a point, I got into a situation where later, when I got much older, I realized the situation I was in could have went wrong. And so speaking with Chingiz, who's a co-writer and creative partner, we spoke about our youth, and Chingiz had Chingiz also encountered some stuff, as a kid, and we wanted to explore that aspect of innocence of children that could get lost when it came in contact with adulthood. And then another thing was peer pressure. There was a scene, an event that happened. I remember being in Ghana, I was called to go play football instead of staying home and doing the chores. And I was very, I went to play the football, instead of staying home. I thought, okay, I could go play football and be back on time and everything will be okay. But unfortunately, I wasn't on time. And my auntie, wanted to punish me. But, this weird, crazy kid I was, I decided I was going to dodge the hit. And because of that, I had to wait for my mom to calm down. And Chingiz felt like, oh, that's an amazing start to a story. Because like now, what do they do while they're waiting for the mom to cool off? And so these 2 themes of, peer pressure and the innocence of children, it was something that we wanted to explore. And that's how we started building the story around.
Great. So I see it's really much inspired on your life while you were a kid.
Loosely, yeah. It has some elements in it. Yes, okay. Very much. Yeah.
And Chingiz, when did you realize, because you've been collaborating a lot with Anthony from what I've understood, when did you realize that was a story, that was something that you wanted to be involved creatively and in the writing, in the producing? What was the start of it for you?
Well, as Anthony was saying, the way we oftentimes work, we kind of just tell stories to each other. Anthony would tell these wild stories about his youth, and the story that he had recounted right now about dodging his auntie's hit was immediately something so cinematic. We knew immediately that there was a potential to a story there. So because of the way we work, we oftentimes kind of just discuss storyline ideas and what interests us, what's in our hearts. And we knew pretty early on that we wanted to do this, and we wanted to do it in a very particular way. Anthony had this very particular vision of how he wants to portray the story, going back to energetic style that, we were really going for. And we really tried to just give our best to make it happen.
Yeah, well, you did it really great. And you were saying about like this energetic style, and I think like one of the things is you really see that also in the DP. It's really unique. You did create a really, really unique cinematography where like the first scene with the chicken, like you kind of really get hypnotized by those images. And there's also, I understood that you're working a lot with Anthony. Seems that you are right now. So you've been like, you two kind of working on your aesthetic and your style. What was the process for Daye?
Well, we were doing video clips and music videos and commercials. So we kind of, before we did Daye, we were working a lot together, and somehow we created a certain style, and it all came together with Daye. The pinnacle of what we were working on. I think 2 or 3 years already we were working together. And in Daye, we knew each other that well at that time, so that we had this visual style, and we already talked about it a lot. And then we were there scouting location. We took like 2 weeks before the shooting to see the locations and to create it. And it was sort of like a very organic thing. It was in both in our heads, like, this is how we want the movie to look, and it has to move. And we didn't need too much words anymore to create the visual style. We had like very similar ideas of what it was supposed to be, and it kind of worked out pretty organically.
Yeah, so your connection created magic, as I can see.
Somehow, yeah, if you say so. Thank you. That's a great compliment, yeah.
And so we have also the chance to have the actors here. So before talking a bit with each of them, Anthony, can you tell us a bit more about how did you find the actors and how the casting went on?
We were in Ghana, and obviously it was very important. The cast was very, very important. And we had, before we came to Ghana, the script was about 2 kids, Kofi and Kweku. My first short film that I did in Ghana was called Kweku. And so, it was about these 2 characters, Kofi and Kweku. And Kweku had like a lot of characteristics that Chingis has, and Kofi had a lot of characteristics that I had. We, going into casting, we had the characteristics, and we went to this school. My cousin knew the headmaster of a school called the Humble Home Academy, which became our second home. Basically, it became like almost a production home. We were looking for kids. I remember the Professor Godwin. So you're looking for, this kind of characteristics. Is it okay if a girl came? Because can everybody come to the audition? And we were like, yeah, man, if it fits the characteristics, why not? So we held an audition, and the first person that walked in was this amazing, talented kid called Matilda. And she walked in the room, and we were like, okay, so, you have to be able to rap and stuff. Should we write your raps for you? Like how you... She was like, no, I got my own raps. And she started like, wow, she just blew our minds. And she was like, yeah, she was supposed to play the younger version of who I used to be. But like, she was her own character model times 300. And it was just for her. Like, it was like, this is it, She
outshined the role.
She outshined, and she could play football, and she could everything. Like, it was just like as if it was for her, And then I think the third person that came in was Prince, this amazing kid that understood the character so much and had this way of playing and understood like acting. There was these 2 really intelligent kids, and we had them play each other's roles. So they played both roles. So we auditioned them to play both roles, and they were amazing in both roles. And then at the end, Matilda became Matilda and Prince became Prince. And then we connected them with, the amazing actor we had one actor that we already knew from 2016 that person was going to be the Boga, and that's, Guagrovogi. And so having, meeting these two kids, connecting them with Gua, it was just magical, It made my work so easy, It made everything go so smooth. Yeah. So, they are the MVPs,
Wow. Well, then going to see a bit on Matilda and Prince's side, so Matilda, where did you hear about? So did you hear about the role and the audition in school? Was it family? How did you wanted to get involved in the film?
Yeah, we were in school that day then. It was like, they knew us already. We were like, any program, we'll be doing stuff, acting, dancing. I'm also a best dancer too. I can dance very well.
Oh.
Also play football, yeah. So they called me to give them some raps. The raps, it was my own rap. I write it myself.
Wow.
So I give them some rap. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And you did win 8th Best Performance Award for that role in the film, which is quite amazing. Is the idea of pursuing a career in acting something you've been thinking about?
Yeah, I was like, I was thinking like, I just want to be a star. Yeah.
Well, you are a star in the film, so
You are a star.
hope you will continue being a star and shining your light on other movies. So that means you're going to be pursuing that. So hopefully we'll be able to see Matilda and Chill on another movie soon. So you got involved also in school, as I understand. How is it to work with Matilda? Were you already friends? How was the process in making the movie for you?
Working with Matilda was awesome. She showed a great teamwork in whatever we did. So it was very nice. We played together. We did everything together.
Were you already friends? Because there seemed to be such an
we were already
connection.
friends. Yeah, we used to play football.
Great. And how is it also? So Matilda and you were friends. It was kind of a good time to play together. And how is it to play with a professional actor too? Because Gua Robert Grovogi is a professional actor who went. How was the experience with him?
Okay. Gua was really good. I used to copy his way of acting.
Okay.
So that was how I was able to make it through.
Wow. So you learned a lot from him.
Yeah, I learned a lot from him.
Wow, amazing. Well, you were also amazing. You really both have the performances, the film is on your shoulders. So congratulations, you both. And Gua, are you still here? I think I saw you before. So it wasn't your first time doing a film with Anthony. So also kind of part of the family. But was it your first time playing with first-time actors? Was there a difference for you in starting and envisioning your role with those two kids?
No, actually, I didn't. I have to say I was quite surprising about the kids. They play better than me. That's for real. So I think I'm just part of a crew. And there are a lot of people behind the scenes. So I'm just the guy who's doing his job. And I'm also lucky to have a great crew members, also a great actors. I didn't have the feeling that I was playing with non-actors. For me, they were better or even good as I was. So now Prince saying he used to look at me and do what I was doing. So I'm surprised because I was observing them. I was like, is this I'm acting now for maybe 12 years, and I think it was the first experience. I didn't see the how can I say that the
difference
between us. So I was just also learning for them, actually. And being also in Accra, in their city, yeah, I had to I had to follow them. They had the energy from the city and everything. So I was following them. That's what Prince didn't know also. So for me, it was very great to be just part of this great project.
And how did you learn about the project? Because you knew already the crew, so I guess you were not found in the school, right?
But Anthony have his own way working. So he is the guy who just come to say, bro, I have something for you today. You're gonna play my movie. Okay, I have this character, Boga, and he start explaining like he just did with his mom, the scene. He start explaining the scenes, but I'm a chef also. I work in the kitchen. So when he can come to the kitchen. So I'm working and he's explaining. It's like listening to half of what he's saying and be cooking. So it's quite difficult. And it's just when you are with, I have this confidence in him as a director. So I see him also growing with the years. So I know he's good. So if he tell me something, I will follow him because I have that level of confidence in him, in his way of doing things. And also Cengiz, I've been also lucky to go to Germany with Cengiz and stay in the same room and having a lot of talk with him. So I know these two guys are the future for me in the movie industry. And PJ is also someone who he is good in what he does, and so it's a great combination. So I was lucky to be part of the. It's not like I feel just someone who is lucky to be part of a great story. I have the feeling that every actor who does his job will have the same feeling I have. So I didn't have to do a lot to be just part of this great story. That's
wow. Well, yeah, it seems like you're really a tight crew, kind of a family crew, and I think like those.
It's just also that you guys saw the movie.
Yeah.
I saw them working. I saw them getting up every morning and trying to fix their thing and coming back from the shooting and trying to prepare the next morning. It's just, I'm someone who work hard. So, and I recognize that also when people working hard, it's not just that working hard, is also the passion that they have. I just have an admiration for what they do. So I cannot say a lot bad thing about them. So it's being blessed to be with them. That's the truth also.
Wow. And
Hey,
so,
Gua, I'm sending the money on your account tomorrow. Don't worry.
Well done. Well done.
Okay, but now you have to pay it twice. Actually, buy me to say all this kind nice stuff.
He's still acting. This still performance.
so Chingiz, it's a film that's shot in Ghana. It must have been a lot of, let's say, difficulties or challenges in producing that film. Can you let us know a bit more of the challenges you face for Daye?
Me and Anthony produced this project together, and Anthony, as he was mentioning before, he had already done a short film in Ghana. Kweku is his first short in Ghana. And going into it, because the thing is, here in Belgium, we're first generation migrants, and we have a lot more family. I have a lot more family in Kazakhstan, and Anthony has a lot more family in Ghana. So I had a lot of confidence that going to Ghana, we'd be surrounded and supported by Anthony's family members. This film, as you've said yourself, it really feels like a family endeavor for us. Anthony's father came along with us. All his uncles were there, his cousins, and Anthony himself. So it was for us, in a way, we took, I feel like, the right amount of time to prepare everything. And we had this overwhelming support of Anthony's family and other people to make this happen. We also surround ourselves with PJ, we call him a walking Steadicam because he's look at him, because we'll ask him to do the most impossible movements with the camera without the use of any extra equipment, basically because we didn't have a lot of money. We went there with pocket change, but we really wanted to get something really beautiful out of it. Anthony, I don't know if you want to add anything to this as a co-producer?
This is, I always say this was a family movie, in the sense of like, we became this family, like, I've known PJ forever, like I've known Chingis forever, I know Gua, and then we went to Ghana where, I went back to see my family members, and then I met new people like, Matilda and Prince. And so there was this small family, and we had this little van, and it was a small crew, but we were family, and we were, every morning, everybody was also multifunctional, PJ, we were cutting up bamboos and doing the art direction, and then Gua will be, when Gua was not acting,
It was a light technician.
It was doing the lights. I'm like, stop, don't touch the lights. You're an actor, please don't. But he was like, no, I'll put it there. Like, and Matilda and Prince, they wanted to clap all the time and be first ADs. And so the film was like this family movie of, everybody, of a multifunctional family, and there were some heated moments sometimes, but I believe, if it's not about the amount of people that you have, but what everybody puts in there, and how much everybody puts in it, and everybody just believed so much in the story and believed so much in what we wanted to do, that they were willing to go that extra mile, and we needed that extra mile to make it happen. And super grateful that everybody wanted to go that extra mile, and, my dad also being there. I remember, like, I told my dad, like, after the shoot, Pops, I think I'm gonna have to take some time off and sleep or something, and my dad was like, no, you need to finish the film when we get back and graduate, and it's been too long. And then after the shoot, he was like, man, if you need to sleep, go ahead. I'm going to take some vacation off. I'm going to take some time off too, in the sense of like, my family also understood, what went into telling a story or making a film. And so, yeah, it was really like this family film, a family movie, and I think that's what you feel also. And that's the authenticity that you feel in the movie, is that everybody was so close and everybody was so involved, in everything. And that's the power, I think, of the film. And so without that, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah. Without that, we wouldn't have had a good night. That's a fact.
Yeah. And we can sense that. And maybe one question that we have here from Benoit, which is addressed to all of you, but since you're all working a lot together, he's curious and I'm curious too about, like, do you have other projects coming on, maybe together or individually?
So obviously, I always work, Chingis is I've been working with Chingis from the start. Everything I've done is with Chingis as co-writer, but also, as creative partner. And also PJ, I've always worked with PJ. And so, we are working on our next, we are working on a feature film together with Caviar. That's also another fun fact, so we went to Ghana and we shot. And then we came back home, but we were broke. So that's why the film took so long. We had to figure out a way to make, like, of course you could go shoot. And, Caviar is a production company that, who we are working with also for our feature. And they helped us. They helped us get the film done and to get it to festivals. And because they also believed in the film so much. And with that same company, we are working on our feature film, which we've been writing. We were already writing before Daye, actually, And so that would be the next. And we have tons of stories that we want to tell, But obviously, everything goes step by step, And I had to graduate first, and and so that was that. And of course,
I wanted to add that. I wanted to add that the feature film, we had developed it at Sam Spiegel Film Lab as Postcard, and we're also working on a TV show that was developed at Torino Series Lab. So we have we kind of went through the heat with the short film, and we've been kind of clobbering and making sorts. Hopefully, we'll get to see it soon.
For sure, with the short, I'm sure there's a lot of people, and myself included, that are waiting your next films that are coming up. So it's a great thing knowing that you have a project cooking up. right now. Maybe one other question, coming back to both you, Chingiz, and Anthony. So maybe Chingiz, you can answer first or as you want, but I was curious on what do you want the audience to really take away from the film when they watch?
For me and Anthony, we knew that there was this thing about the film that was very hard to get right. It was this dread that you feel from the first moment of the film, and it carries on as soon as the boga arrives. There's this question that kind of lingers in your mind when you think to yourself, what will happen to these kids? And it was I know from the start when we were working on it, me and Anthony, it was a very difficult task for us because, the fear lies with the audience. We don't say that something's going to happen. The audience has to assume it almost. It's very tactile. It's so small. And that was like really our biggest task. How do we convey this dread? And I think me and Anthony are always, we're always, kind of almost happy to to hear, audience members saying like, oh, we're so afraid for these kids. Because, it's air. You watch the film and you don't know what it is, but you can really feel it inside. And it's something that we wanted to convey to the audience. And we want them to know, that there is a bad side to peer pressure. And it's quite small and it's very difficult to trace. But Anthony, who, had an incredible vision, he was able to convey it in a way just through mood. And I think Anthony, maybe you can elaborate on this feeling in the story.
I remember, we were like, we spoke about the theme and being a kid and going through all those things. It was like, from the kid's perspective, I had the time of my life. Like Matilda and Prince, they had the time of their life. They went to buffets. They saw the sea. They had this amazing adventurous road trip, that, probably opened up their view of the world, in a sense of like everything went okay. But it was more like for us, like, okay, but the adult looking at this is scared and feels like, ooh,
yeah,
that's weird, but
yeah,
it's not necessarily always a bad thing. But so for us, it was like, okay, we're going to do a social drama that becomes a thriller as of a point, without showing anything. That was our challenge. Like, and yeah, we thought about it for a long time, and it was like, okay, so for me, the only way that it could work was like, just having conversations with Chingiz about it, and we were like very technical about it. Like, okay, we feel like the only time an adult feels something wrong might happen is when you cross these two worlds. The film starts and you are in this children world with chickens and these colorful things, and all of a sudden this weird guy comes with this car, he's super charming and asks for, kids to, if they want to go have buffet. It's not a bad thing, right? but as of then, that's when you feel the tension. And for us, it just clarifies that the theme that we wanted to handle is something that is very relevant, is something that is very universal, and so that for us, that was also the reason why we wanted to tell this story, and that's how we went about it. And every place and every location throughout the film, this has its own rhythm, it has its own pace, and has its own nuance to it. And every time you are looking at it, you are looking at it, from when you are looking at it from an adult point of view, you have other things in your mind. You don't just see the water and the beautiful things. You're seeing other things. While somebody else is like, wow, these kids are seeing the sea for the first time, and kind of like getting rid of their fears and learning things at what cost, kind of like, and that's kind of like what we wanted to achieve, that we were messing with the audience minds, but also kind of like creating awareness about this situation because it's a universal thing, Nowadays, there is a very thin line between adulthood and children, and it has its positivity, but it's a thin line that we have to, that's what
you achieved really well, this thin line in making us feel the childhood feeling and this feeling of being like, oof, what's going to happen? So yeah, you achieved what you were looking for, I could say. And here we have someone asking, and I didn't ask, I don't know why, but Prince, that's a question for you. Do you want to pursue acting also? Because that was your first experience, but is it something you're looking for to do again?
Acting wasn't part of my goal. So I wanted to be a doctor, but I wanted to be a doctor, but I never liked art. But so when I came for the audition, I had this self-confidence that I can do it. So I tried as much as possible, and I made it. Yeah, I would also like to continue to act.
So you're still thinking in continuing pursuing being a doctor, but still open to continue being an actor. Great, amazing.
Prince, you could play, maybe in the next film, you could play a doctor.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Yeah, that's going to
Question now for PJ. One question that I have for you is, what part of plan shot was there in the film, and what part of, let's say, magic on set did you capture?
Yeah, I had this question already many times, and to be honest, for a lot of people, the films feels very organic, but everything was planned out basically.
Wow.
It's because the camera is moving, and it has sometimes it's like rough camera work, and it's organic, and we spent a lot of time on location, and we thought about the shots and everything. So it was kind of planned out, but there was room for spontaneous moments, of course. The sea, we knew the scene when they entered the sea, we knew it was kind of a one shot, because if I'm correct, it was for Matilda and Prince really the first time that they went into the sea. So we had to capture that moment. It was like fiction and documentary blending together perfectly. So there it was like the camera was there, and we knew how we wanted to shoot it, but there was room for improvisation, and we didn't really know what happened. Once they're in the sea, stuff happens, and so some stuff was really planned out, but there was also a lot of room for improvisation, but not too much, to be honest.
Well, you tricked us in making believe it was all just magic that happened on set. Well, hopefully not all of it, but I mean, still, we had this feeling in the film. Maybe before we wrap up,
that's how it goes.
I want to ask maybe a last question to Anthony about, you've been one of the most awarded short film this year, if I'm correct, and as a Ghanaian filmmaker, also one of the most awarded, and now you're in the run for the Oscar. So what would it mean for you to have Daye nominated for an Oscar? Big question.
To be honest with you, when we did this film, doing this, we had this idea in 2015, so it's this long journey, that as of a point, and also probably my parents, if they are somewhere in this Zoom, they just wanted me to graduate, it took a while, I normally, it takes you 4 years? 4 years. It took me 6 years. We had this great idea, but the reason it took so long is that we didn't want to compromise, even though it was tough to do it. We were like, you know what? This is what we want to do, even though it sounds very it's ambitious and not everybody was believing in it. Not everybody was like, oh, you want to go? You're going to do this? Oh, your film starts with chicken running, and how are you gonna do that? Like, but we felt like we could, you know, and it was possible. And we just didn't like PJ says, you know, we love it when people say, oh, it's so organic. But it was this was a plan. It was planned out a while before. And so we just wanted to get it out, you know. And for me, when all the accolades that it's getting and it's because of, you know, everybody that's involved, you know, it's this small team and a great cast and everybody, everybody that's involved. It was also kind of like the first, you know, PJ also, it was like the first short film, you know, that we did. And so for everybody, it was almost like we all wanted to prove what we could, you know, we all wanted to let our little voice be heard, you know. We wanted to scream like, look, this is what we can do. Being seen and being heard, it's amazing because I feel like it leaves, you know, it just gives, I can speak for myself, like it just gives me a lot of confidence in the sense of like, if you believe in a story, you know, or something, and you want to tell it, you know. And for me, filmmaking is the most powerful language because I just have to do that, and I can speak to the whole world. And having all these accolades and going to festivals, you know, and getting messages from people in India or Bangladesh, you know, saying Matilda was amazing and Gua was amazing and Prince. And it's just from, you know, and going to the Oscars will just mean this little language or this little voice, you know, really was heard, you know. And it was just, I feel like we came so it did so much, and it touched the world, you know. And it going further, it's something I never dreamed. It was not even a plan, you know what I mean? So answering it's a weird question to answer, but it's just, for me, it's just this. It means that film, you know, it's a universal language, you know. That a small film that we did in Medina, you know, me being in Belgium, graduating here and going back to Medina and telling this little story that we had in ourselves, and we just wanted to tell a story, and then that story kind of like all of a sudden people are understanding it. It's like, wow, amazing, you know. So that it will mean little stories could be heard around the world, you know. Yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Cinema is a universal language, and you did like spread out your voice out there. And everyone who's looking out, if you want to help the team just spreading out the voices, just talk about the film, share the film, and that will just help. What's the goal of the film in any case? To be seen and heard everywhere. So anyways, I think like we have to wrap up. I would have so many other questions, I'm sure everyone also, but that's pretty much the time we were having. Thank you so much, everyone in the team, for your time. And congrats again, because you are all really, really talented filmmakers, actors, just like you have a unique voice and continue spreading it. And well, we're all hoping to see you at the Oscars and to see the next work you're going to be working in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, it's so beautiful seeing Matilda and Prince and everybody. Wow. Again.
You guys grew up quite a bit.
Like, you know how I sweated to get Prince and Matilda to be here on time. And Prince. Amazing.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks to you guys. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.